Hey friends, Pastor Michael from Organic Church. We're excited for another season of growing together. We'd love to have you join us on Sunday mornings at 10 or Wednesday evenings at 7 for friends, family, and a whole lot of Jesus. It's not that you did anything wrong.
Everything.
It's all my fault.
No, I listened and it was fun to listen to, but you got some details wrong. That's all.
On what?
And you guys, no, all of you got details wrong. And you know how I like things to be just so.
Oh.
Well, and you weren't here, so guess who's
I know.
Right. It's your turn to pray.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did hear that too. It rotates back.
We didn't want you to think we could do this without.
You could do it without.
Yeah,
You didn't want to. Yeah. Couple of notes. We are already recording, but just some pointers for everybody.
Just a heads up.
Yeah, just some pointers for everybody. One of the things, I don't typically go back and re-listen.
Yeah.
But so listening last night or today for last week's episode, one of the things I would point out is when you're talking, make sure you get close enough to your mic that you can hear. Like Beth, Dawn, I can tell when you turn around and talk to Beth because I lose you about right here. So you can tell
Her
when we.
fault.
I know, I get it.
So you're telling all this, so we are continuing the podcast. Like, we're going to be around forever.
Well, no, I don't know about
you're
forever.
You're giving us pointers right now.
I don't know
so
about
that means
forever.
we're here forever.
So, I mean, do you want me to just share it while we're online? I will. I don't have a problem. Actually, it's going to tie into today's topic. So I'm struggling really, really badly with the disconnect on Sundays. Mm-hmm. So something's happening that like we just don't have the engagement on Sunday that we need. Mm-hmm. I need 2 tech people right now. Can't get anybody to do it. I need greeters. I need so much stuff. And I feel like there's this giant disconnect on Sunday mornings that I feel like I need to reshift my focus back to Sunday mornings because it's gotten to the point to where like you open the door and there are people standing there and they're congregated and they're chit-chatting, but it's not necessarily greeting anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get into the sanctuary, a lot of times it's semi-empty because everybody's either in the prayer room or in the cafe. And so the building becomes cliquish. And so if you're new and you make it to the sanctuary, you're there by yourself. It's my tech team, and I can't say tech team because Sis is always here super early, but like sound engineers aren't here early enough to sound check anything that needs to be checked. So if something goes sideways, it happens during service. And last week, I don't remember what I told them to do, but I was like, hey, you're going to want to keep this going. And so when they went to transition to the next song, it was a hard transition. The song ended and the next one started. And anybody who was looking at me standing in front of the pulpit knew that I was not happy because the look on my face was, and I wasn't mad at them, but this is the stuff that we should be so good at that it just shouldn't happen. Mm-hmm. We have all of the equipment. Everything is there that we should need. There are some minor adjustments that we could make, but we've talked about doing live worship again. I'm not going to do it until we have figured out how we do that and do it right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Lenten service was that I was furious during Lenten service. We practiced, I shouldn't say we practiced so hard, but we did. I mean, it wasn't a hard practice as much as it was finding the time to make it happen.
Yeah.
And
Once.
Yeah, we really practiced twice. Once the day of and like earlier in the week.
Yeah.
But my schedule kept changing, and so we just couldn't get together. The long and short of it, while we were standing up there, we were getting ready for worship, I had prayed, and there was prayer music playing. They couldn't transition that because it would have transitioned too hard in the floor monitor. And rather than just fading out the floor monitor and then starting the music and fading the floor monitor back up, they just did it. And it was brutal. And that's the stuff that for me, I feel like I need to have a renewed focus on what's happening on Sunday mornings so that we can get this wagon train moving. Because we move into that side of the building, which is going to happen. But when that happens, it becomes significantly harder to fix those things because everything is going to be remote. We'll be controlling things from iPads versus being in front of it the entire time. So you'll have less opportunity to save those major malfunctions. So I want to just get really, really good at it. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now that I was super serious about that.
I got my grass mowed today.
You got your grass mowed today? That's good.
Chased it
Did
ours
you put
the other day.
Did you put pontoons on the mower?
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, I thought I only have today because it's supposed to rain again, the next couple days. So I got the front and the fenced-in yard done, but I didn't get out back behind the garage.
So, because we've gotten so much rain, the lake is up, and they're putting my boat in on Saturday. So guess where I'm going to be Saturday night?
Hey.
Yeah, and guess who won't be at church on Sunday morning because of it? So let's go back to church attendance.
Yeah.
That's
Beth will
not
be at the
true.
lake.
Listen, I very rarely
Yeah. And
miss church.
I think there's been times where you stay out there and
And she comes in.
I come in.
Yeah, she comes in.
Yeah, I do. I mean, we're out there every Sunday, and I come in.
Yeah.
It's just very hectic when you have Rosalind and Noah and me all trying to get ready in that little space.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
You got two of them with ADHD that can't keep focused on what they're supposed to be doing.
You're like, don't jump in the water. Don't do it.
They're out feeding the fish.
You don't have any ducks?
No, we got not ducks. What are they? Geese with their babies are out there.
Oh.
But we got those carp that are huge.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody's feeding them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever they've got on the boat,
why they're
too.
huge.
Yep.
Well, it's in the morning. If you don't get out there in the morning when they think they need fed, they smack up against your pontoons. That's how. I mean,
Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, you can they'll take it right out of your hand.
You know, they say dumb animals. They're all smart. Just
Poor little Rosalind. I thought she was going to have a heart attack when she, I don't know what she thought it was going to do. But she put her hand down there and she, that thing sucked on her finger. She's like,
you probably thought it was little as she is. You probably thought it was going to pull her in.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm
Yes.
sure if she saw the full length of it, she'd be like,
Okay. Sorry. I'm trying to answer work emails while I'm sitting here. I have not had enough time today to do anything.
Wow.
well,
Close that.
that sounds like me. My friend, she was coming over today to help with some of my crafts for Cooper's birthday. And really, it was just like to put together a picture collage. And I was going to have her grab the pictures from Walmart. Well, I'm like, okay, just let me know when you're on your way to Walmart. Like,
And you hadn't even sent them in?
well, I was like, where's my order? Where's my order? Oh my gosh, where's my order? Yeah, didn't even send it. Like, I even was going to the payment method and I must just not have hit place order whenever I did it earlier this morning. So I don't know.
Maybe you were still asleep.
No, I waited until Cooper was asleep. That way I'd have undivided attention and still it failed.
So, in other words, you can't
I
blame
failed.
Cooper.
Yeah. Yeah. No, not at all.
kind of like when you don't send an email that you thought for sure you sent.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I know when I don't do it. And I always end up eating crow after I'm like, oh, yeah, that was a week ago. And I never responded to that.
And then Jarvie doesn't get paid on Friday because you never mailed the bill in.
Tell him I thought he was just working out of the kindness of his heart. He helped me put up my fence posts. 10 of my panels went down with our last windstorm.
Hey, I thought you guys were crazy when you said when you moved to Jeanette and get used to the wind. I thought you guys were crazy. That's real life down there. I've never
Yeah, it's like a wind tunnel.
never experienced wind like we have in Jeanette. It's crazy.
Because everybody's talking at the same time.
Maybe that's it.
That might be it.
Jarvie said he owed you that for taking care of my broken window, that, you know, maybe the dog would have been better off had he run out that window after his last stunt.
Oh, no.
Goodness.
You know, he ripped a hole in my couch the size of a basketball and pulled all the stuffing out. My brand new couch.
Yeah, did I already know that? Because I made a joke about it. But
he had
that
a
small.
Okay,
hole.
okay.
Oh, no, this is huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
So never mind. There are two options.
Bring him to your house?
Nope. Oh, you can bring him to my house and then I'll choose one of the two options. And I'm betting it'll be option 2.
Just don't put him in my backyard.
Listen, this is the thing. He has no remorse. I mean, like my other dog, that they did something bad and you kind of got after him, you know, they'd put their head down or whatever. No,
He wants to
like-
play.
He's like, bring it on. And he's jumping at you and barking at you. And
Is he really a cat?
I don't know.
Maybe he thinks he's a cat.
I don't know what he thinks.
Oh.
he
That's what
is,
they do.
but-
Speaking of cats, let's just talk about the cat situation because I missed that last week. So, Nick, you have 3 more kittens.
Yeah, plus mommy.
plus mommy. So, and you're keeping mommy for sure.
Yeah.
Plus, you're keeping the 3 kittens. Beth has
need a
kittens.
towel.
What my wife says, yes, we'll probably.
Yeah.
keeping the-
Yeah, I'm not even questioning it. I'm saying that you're keeping the 3 kittens. Beth, how many do you have?
Mama's never brought them.
Oh, you've never seen
She
them.
keeps coming back and eating.
Okay, but at some point, Nick is going to end up with more kittens.
Yeah, I'm going to do drive-bys, throw over the fence.
One at a time.
I'm gonna have to build a wall like Trump.
Yeah. You're going to have a dome. Otherwise, people are just going to keep dropping them
got
off.
But they're
Illegal
going to be
immigration
small enough I
problem.
can push them under the fence.
Pretty soon, the city's going to come after you thinking you guys are the problem, but really you're just trying to fix the problem. Oh, goodness. Okay, so some corrections from last week's episode. 18,000 eggs was the target number. We are currently at like 23.
Ooh.
That happened by accident. People kept asking for eggs. I kept giving out eggs. So doing the quick math, we're close to 23,000.
Nice.
So we got a lot of eggs. So we're hoping for a decent turnout. This is year 5. I would like to speak to the fact that somehow I always end up doing the Easter egg hunt, even though I say every year I'm not going to.
Yeah.
We're
We
not
mentioned
gonna
that
do
a
it.
time or two.
I would like to state that the first year I was not opposed. Okay. The first year we had a committee.
Uh-huh.
Were you part of that?
Eh,
Chantel was here. Brooke was here.
No, I wasn't.
Okay. So we had a huge quote unquote committee. Everybody sat in that room and when it was my office and we all
Actually, maybe.
came up with 353,000 ideas why we should and how we should.
Yes.
And then quickly, the 353,000 ideas,
Got down to 1.
no, they had to happen. And if they didn't happen, that person was mad because they didn't get what they wanted. Okay. So I learned that year I have to head this thing up, or one person does. It doesn't have to be me, but it can only be one person. That person is the final say in what gets executed. It's just easier that way. Here's the next fun fact. People don't like that.
Mm-mm.
And so if they say, hey, we should X, and I'm like, well, you guys use bikes as an example. We got that one year. You guys should give away bikes. Well, we did that, and we had a little boy win an Elsa bike. Well, that doesn't seem fair, right?
Right.
Who can afford to have a bike for every age group in every gender, right? It's almost impossible.
Right.
Exactly.
So the person who suggested the bikes when I said we're not going to do bikes again was upset because we weren't going to do bikes. Now, they didn't donate any of the bikes.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't volunteer to.
Just their idea.
Yes, it was just the idea. So long and short, yes, I am a little bit controlling of the egg hunt. However, I would love for somebody else to take it and run with it. I would like for it to end up out at the school. Because then you have all of that parking. You don't need people to help park.
Mhm.
You can put the eggs out early enough in the morning that everything is just like set up. I don't know if they would let you use the concession stand, but you could offer all of your free concessions right out of the concession stand, or even setting up a tent. You could still do all of the things. The only problem is it's all outside. So in the event of rain, you're wet. Although I can get us a really large tent that we could borrow, but it wouldn't change the fact that it's still outside. So, any volunteers? Any takers? Yes? No? No?
That's
No?
not a good idea.
No? Didn't think so.
I volunteer as
You
tribute.
do it. You do it so well.
Okay.
Yeah, you
All
do,
right.
but not one.
Yeah. Well, I want
No.
somebody to take it. I'm begging somebody to take it.
We wouldn't want to have to,
My problem
compare
is
you.
I don't. You hand it to somebody, and I want them to still be able to have their own vision for it. But I also need them to understand that there are limits to the vision that we can have because it gets really out of control very quickly, and you have to be able to rein that in and have to have some cap on the idea for a certain year. Like we wanted to go to the school this year. It wasn't possible. We didn't even know if we were going to get to do it, to call the school and book the date and do all of the things. So
Yeah, because you need to start now.
yes,
For next
yes,
year.
right. We should
Yeah,
be
right.
starting now for next year.
Mhm.
Wait, let's start after Easter for next year because this was the other thing I was telling my wife after having listened to it. People don't fully understand either. And I don't never say these things so that people go, oh yeah, he does have a lot going on. But I moved from one thing to the next, Lenten service to the Easter egg hunt. Like Easter egg hunt can't even really have my attention until Lenten service is over because that's a big undertaking.
Right.
From a tech standpoint, from having the building open, it's hard on the building to have that many people in a short amount of time. So go from Lenten service, go to Easter egg
Easter.
hunt, go from Easter egg hunt into Palm Sunday, into Good Friday, into Easter Sunday, right?
Mhm.
Catch your breath. And now we have dodgeball, which doesn't take a lot, but it does take work. And it doesn't happen if I'm not here and making and pushing it. So then we have dodgeball. Then we've been asked to do water baptisms. So we'll have that. There's always something. There's always a next. There's never a catch your breath. Get your head above water. I'll tell you, I told my wife this. I used to like it when nobody liked me. I like that way better because now I've got people calling me wanting to do counseling appointments. I'm like, what? Like, how did this happen? We've had somebody at our house every week, at least one night a week for probably the past 6 weeks. And usually it's Friday night because it's the only night that we have available. Let's see. Adeline has dance on Monday. Emmett has soccer on Tuesday. Adeline has gymnastics on Wednesday. Emmett has soccer on Thursday. Friday night we're open. Saturday. What do we have on Saturday?
Basketball game.
No, basketball's
basketball's
over.
over.
Basketball's over.
But you did.
Yes. Well, right. And so we just trade dates.
Yeah.
So like now we've got Saturday is semi-open, but that's like
It's like a buffer.
the only day.
Yeah.
But that's writing a sermon. That's doing any building work here that needs to be done. Like there's always something that has to happen. So tonight, probably not, because Adeline probably won't go to dance tonight because Alyssa's not feeling well. But if Adeline would have gone to or gymnastics tonight, Easton would have come here. And then Easton and I would have cleaned up whatever we needed to clean up, gone to the Lenten service, gone home. By the time we get home, it's 8:30. Get everybody bathed and in bed. There's just no rest. No rest. And people don't think about that. And so when they say, oh, we should do dodgeball, we should do young adult night, we should do this. Hey, listen, I'm all for
You
all
say,
of those
great,
things.
take it over then.
I'm all for all of those things. And we love having the young adults. We don't mind having people at our house. But we also, like Alyssa and I, we spent like 3 hours together today alone. No kids, nobody else. It's probably the longest we've been alone, awake in a long time. In a long time. So there's a lot going on. Just trying to get people to understand that a small church still requires a large number of volunteers. Really, honestly, in the size of our congregation, let's do some just quick napkin math. Every registered member, every card-carrying organic church member, there's probably 120 of us.
I never got a card.
Well, you got
It's a
neglected.
fictitious card.
Listen, I don't think I
Did you guys get a card?
No, no cards.
I only give those to the people I like.
Okay.
I'm the only one that has one, just so we're
Yeah, I was
clear.
gonna say, yeah, he's the only one that's got one.
I was going to say, did you hear that, Dawn? That means we don't have to be here till noon.
So we have, what was I saying? Oh, there's probably about 120 like actual members of the church. Of that, we on a Sunday morning get between 50 and 60 that show up. That's usually including kids. Now, we get some really good Sundays where we have 80 people, but a lot of times that's a handful of visitors. That's like 10 or 12 visitors. That's a husband and wife coming with 3 kids, and we might have 3 of those little pockets. That's crazy to think about, that we have 120 people on the roster and we really can't get above 60 of actual church members on a Sunday morning.
Do we reach out to them?
Certainly.
Okay.
But here's the problem.
I mean, because I don't even know that I know that many, and I've been coming here.
Here's the problem. Well, but this is the trick. You do know that many. You just don't realize that they almost missed in alternates.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like if Doug and Mel miss one Sunday, you might not notice that Sunday, but like Vicky Hickey may be here that Sunday. Right? And so you balance out those numbers. If everybody who were a member were to come one Sunday morning, and Easter is likely one of those mornings, this place will be full. Because you have so many people who like, that day becomes a priority.
Yep.
So the topic, the way that I titled it was, what did I call it?
Sunday
Slump.
slump.
Sunday Slump.
Slump.
Sunday Slump. What is it? Like Tina Newman comes in here all the time, almost every Sunday morning. I'm just in a bad mood. I'm like, Tina, you're always in a bad mood. Like, this isn't new.
She reminds me of my grandma, the one who passed away. Oh,
It's not new news, Tina. You're always in a bad mood. Why are you in a bad mood? Well, I didn't want to get up this
because the
morning.
sun's shining.
Yeah.
I should still be in my PJs.
Yeah, I didn't want to
Well,
get
then
up.
put your PJs back on. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, and I think to myself, how many people get that and don't get up and go to
Right,
church?
right,
How many
right.
people like start to experience that and then they just become like, oh, well, it's just
Well, it's
easier to
just-
stay in bed.
Mhm.
Like, I get it, but if that were an option for me, I would take it too. But it's not.
Right.
It's not an option. So then I go back to, okay, do I expect everybody to be the way that I am, to operate the way that I do? So I've been here. Let's do the quick math again. This week, Roger, you and I were here Monday night. We did the setup. Nick, you were here Monday night. I did come last night, but I was just in and out. I didn't stay. What did I come for?
I don't know. I wasn't here.
I don't remember what I was here for, but I was in and out. I didn't stay for, it was probably 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops. Was I here yesterday? I think I was.
That's Monday.
Yeah.
Yesterday was Tuesday.
Yeah.
Today
today's
is Wednesday.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think why I stopped here for something yesterday. I'm glad you know the days of the week, right?
Yeah.
Well, I know Alyssa was at the gym yesterday. So did you come
No,
here?
mine would have been in the morning before I went to work
Okay.
because I'd left my bag here Monday night. So I stopped in, got my bag, and took care of a couple of things before I went to work on Tuesday morning.
Okay.
Then tonight, I've been here since, I don't know, 3:30, 4 o'clock, somewhere around there.
Probably.
So we've got this. Then we've got Lenten service this evening. Tomorrow, I think I'm free tomorrow. I don't think I have to be here.
Yeah. Well, we need to rest up for Saturday.
Yeah, but then I'll be here Friday for sure. There's some stuff that I'll want to take care of before Friday. And then Saturday all day. And then, back on Sunday. So there's what I need people to understand is if you volunteer to do something,
Do it.
no, not just that. Thank you for volunteering. And I'll tell you, I'm going to give a shout out to Marcus McVeigh right now. That dude comes down anytime I ask him to, mows the grass, whatever I need. Roger's the same way. Like there are a handful of us that do that. The problem is if somebody would just say, hey, what do you need done? And I said, I need this painted, or I need these moved, or I need that done. And I could trust that they were going to follow through and they were going to do those things. They don't understand the value that brings to my life. 20 minutes? That's 20 minutes. I get to go home and see my kids. Now,
Yep.
remember, I don't always want to see my kids, but I could if I wanted to.
Do we think we should set up some sort of action plan to where people don't have to ask you what needs done?
So here's the thing. At one point, we had committees.
Right.
So we had a lawn committee. These are the people who are going to do the lawn. They're going to take care of mowing. They're going to take care of landscaping. They're going to take care of weed eating, pressure washing the building. Basically, outside of the building, they're going to take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
That list had 6 people on it. Of those 6, 2 people have actually followed through on that work. Do you know who those 2 people are?
You and Dawn.
Me and Roger. Well, Dawn now with the flower beds. But we had some people they pressure wash part of the building, but it's still not done.
Mm-hmm.
There's this constant
Mm-hmm.
and it never ends. So my problem is could I start a maintenance thread in the church text and be like, hey, this week, here are the 5 things that need to be done. You know what that does to me?
Increases your anxiety.
Creates frustration because I say, here are the 5 things that needs to be done. Nobody responds. And I look at Roger and go, well, we've got 5 things to do this week. And I can't wait till Friday
Mm-hmm.
to find out that nobody did it.
Right.
Because if I don't come on Tuesday when I have time, it simply won't get done.
Can it be looked at as if how nursery is looked at? Like we set up a schedule, and
That
kind
still
of
won't
plan
work.
ahead.
No,
to an extent.
I appreciate the idea, but I think some of it is skilled work.
Yeah, I agree.
So, if you were mowing, fine. On Monday, this week, this person is responsible for mowing.
Mm-hmm.
Roger and I have actually split it in 3 sections. Roger and I do it in 3 phases.
Mm-hmm.
So what we call zone 1 is and I'm just mowing is
Yeah.
just the one that's in my head right now. We mow from the street all the way up to the front end of the building. That's zone 1. Zone 2 is push mowing the front of the building. Zone 3 is the big back half.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, there's a reason that we do it that way. Roger almost always mows zone 3.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you let somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, they blow the grass all over the building
Mm-hmm.
and they make a bigger mess than they help.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have people who would come and help, like, oh, I'll just stop out and help mow. And you would have clumps of grass because they would set the blade all the way to the bottom. So it's that level of perfection, that spirit of excellence that I have that's hard to just let anybody do anything.
Yeah.
And when you ask, hey, mow around the building, it's simple. Mow around the building 3 times with the mower pointing away from the building. And after that, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Whole thing. He told the story last week. Somebody ran the big mower through the front yard. You want to talk about send me into an absolute rage. You can still see the spot out there where they tore up the grass. It's why?
Mm-hmm.
When you say, I'm going to mow the front, I say, please push mow.
Mhm.
Please use the push mower. Always use the bagger. We never mulch the grass on the front because otherwise it ends up in the flower bed. It ends up all over the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you still get someone to sign.
Yeah, because
But
it comes out front.
Yes.
But the point is that it's a simple ask for a simple task, but you can't get people to follow the direction.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with plumbing, Roger and I have said we just don't do that anymore. This building is so complicated when it comes to plumbing. It's just easier for us to call Chase and see if Chase can squeeze us in.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. Then you have electrical work.
We can use extension cords.
Yes, exactly. That's why we do extension cords, because nobody will do the electrical work. No.
Sounds like my house. I'm not lying.
We run them through the wall, though. We just run them through the wall. We don't mind. We don't mind. Roger and I do the majority of the electrical work, and then Dan Lumpsick can help. The problem is when you get a job, you can't just leave that half finished. It has to be done. You guys remember the sign? The lights didn't work on the sign out there for months.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, I got sick of it, and I went out and figured it out. Didn't even get electrocuted once. And all it was, what did I tell you it was? Oh, the photocell was bad.
Yeah.
That was it. Just a photocell. Pulled it out, put a new one in. Works fine.
And we even had a photocell. Didn't have to buy
Yeah,
one.
had a photocell. Didn't spend any money on it. That's stuff that when people see it, I wish somebody would just say, hey, I noticed the lights aren't working. Do you mind if I come out and take a look at it? Like, hey, I noticed that toilet keeps running. You mind if I come out and take a look at it? Hey, I noticed that those light bulbs are burnt out. Do you mind if I take care of that? Or don't even ask. Just swap the light bulbs, right? It's not difficult. And so much of it is really, honestly easy to do, but nobody wants to do it. Here's my theory. People want to come on Sunday morning and they want to spectate, right? They want to get something out of it. So they treat church as an investment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you pay in hopes of getting something out, right? So
Transactional.
it's very transactional. Tithes are no longer just tithes. Tithes buy you opinion, right? Now, this doesn't happen a lot here, but it does happen.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, well, I donated. Didn't tithe. I donated. So we should be doing X.
Well, it's not quite as bad as it used to be.
Yes, it used to be way worse. But people, they think like that.
Mhm.
And so when they come into the sanctuary on Sunday morning, and this has gotten a lot better too, but this is still a bone of contention for me. When I'm preaching, I don't need you to raise your hand and try to preach for me. It happens. Like there are some people who feel I know that you feel like you can add value right now, but they have a right to do those things. Listen, go to any other
That's what I was about to
church
say.
and try to do that stuff. The problem is because I am approachable, and that's how I bill myself. Like I want everybody to feel like they can have a relationship with me. They feel like they can do that. I've threatened Nerf guns, dodgeballs. Like, what do I do to get people to just be respectful during service, right? It's hard. Moreover, how do you get people to just show up? Because to me, that's the biggest part.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard it is? And I'll give Beth a hard time. I texted her last Sunday. She wasn't here. I sent her a text. I said, you need to be here. And she said, I know. I said, then get here. Like that was the text exchange. She didn't respond to that because she's
That's
like,
because
I ain't doing it.
I was sulking in bed. I was planning my day in bed all day.
So the hard part for me is to get up on Sunday morning, come in here at 6:30 in the morning, 7 at the absolute latest, be in the building, give everything I've got between 6:30 and noon, it's 1 o'clock, depending on the day, to have council members not show up, to have volunteers not show up, and people that don't oh, I'm not going to be able to be there this Sunday. I'll tell you. Who is it? Oh, Tina Newman usually texts me the day before if she's not going to be able to be here for some reason. Now, she comes on Sunday morning, sometimes later than she should, because she's supposed to make the coffee, and normally Roger and I are done. And a bad attitude some Sundays. But you know what? She shows up.
Yeah.
She shows up. Listen, God, family, church. I get it. But when do I get to see my family? I get to see my family on Sunday morning after church before they leave and go with my grandparents or with their grandparents. That's not fair. I need people who are going to step up and actually be in positions and in roles that support the ministry. This is what I tell Sis and Dan in the sound booth all the time, in the tech booth. My ministry does not operate if your ministry does not operate. If every time I ask for a scripture or a slide, it's not there. If every time I say, hey, play this song and it's not there, that affects what I'm doing. It affects that move because you're running against the grain all the time. And we've got to fix that. But we can't fix that without people wanting to show up and actually be part of what the church is about. Listen, I am fully aware of what's going to happen in this place. It's going to blow up. We're going to get to the point, and I don't mean physically. I don't mean like kaboom, blow up. Unless that hot water tank keeps shoot through the roof.
Not very timely right now.
I think that there's going to come a day, and we see it some Sundays, and everybody gets so excited when that happens, right? You walk in there, and there's 80 people in the sanctuary, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, this feels so good. and then they're not here the next Sunday. And we're like, well, what do we do to get them back? Be kind. Show up and talk to them, right? Look, we've got one congregant right now has always been incredibly quiet and incredibly reserved. And all of a sudden she's not.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know how this happened, but I'm here for it and there's a constant text messages about like, why do you guys do this? And why do we do this? And I don't understand this. And I don't understand that. I will answer those text messages all day long. Because if you are growing, it means something, right? Sure. So we've done the right thing for them. How do we duplicate that? Can I tell you that we did the right thing for that person because of who my wife is and how she pours into people? We all have to be that way.
Right.
It can't be transactional. We can't come in here, sit in our seats, expect to get something, and walk out having given nothing.
Right.
Everything has to be part of the DNA of what we do. Somebody asked me once what our mission statement is, and we technically share a mission statement with Foursquare, so we don't really get to have our own mission statement. But here's what I try to tell people: I want this church to be about what we love and not worry about the things that we hate, right? So what I mean by that is when we see somebody walk through the door that we don't necessarily agree with, listen, there are people in this world that I do not like, right? I just don't like them. If they walk through that door, I love them. Just the same as every other person that walks through the door. There are going to be people in our lives that we disagree with. There's one person that like cannot imagine all of the things that like I'm seeing on social media from them right now. And it's like, I'm like, that's not the person that I know, right? Like, how do you fix that? I can't say anything because if I say something, then it's like, am I picking a fight? But I'm worried about them.
Yeah.
Like, it's my responsibility to make sure that those people don't go to hell, right? Like, I should be telling them, listen, I'm tired. Do you know how hard it is to have to be somebody's pastor and you're not allowed to be their friend? There are times in life for me that each and every one of you I consider friends. But if you come to me with something that is like heavy or weighted, I can't be your friend. I have to be your pastor. It's my responsibility to make sure that you're not doing something contrary to the word of God. That's heavy. That's hard. I've been dealing with it for a month and a half at this point, just trying to navigate life as a pastor and not as a friend. But then the problem is when that switch is flipped, now I'm everybody's pastor and nobody's friend. Not even my wife's friend. Seriously, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
But so then I have to come here, give everything, leave, and I still have to close myself off because if I open myself up, if I open my home, if I allow people to come in, then I start to want to become friend. And then you become friend, and now you're in dangerous territory because you can say some things and you can't say other things. Now that's what Pastor Michael said. Actually, let me rephrase that. Michael said.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, that's probably one of the hardest things that I'm experiencing right now. And I've never been this way. And Roger will tell you this. When I first started, when people called me Pastor Michael, it made me uncomfortable. Now I'm like, wait a second. When somebody says Michael instead of Pastor Michael, I think, there's a level of respect missing here. We're on friend level. We're not on spiritual level. And that's hard to think about because there is always a connection. It's a small church. I spend a lot of time with a lot of people. But you want me to give you the truth. You want me to be honest with you. And then when I am, I'm not being your friend. I don't want to be your friend. I can't be your friend all the time.
That's right.
It's not fun. It's not fun. But there's something wrong with Sunday mornings. And the problem with Sunday morning is it's transactional at this point. People think they can come, sit, and leave, and they don't have to give anything back. So Holly and I were having this conversation. We have to learn to sow instead of invest. You reap what you sow, right? When you invest, there's potentially no return. When you're just paying in, you're just coming in, doing your time. Think of it like a prison sentence, right? The only difference is you get to leave at the end of your 2 hours on Sunday morning. But that's what some people, like to them, they just have to come and put in their time.
A prison sentence.
Well, it really is.
I know. Yeah.
It really is. And some people feel that they would probably feel the same way if they had to go to prison every Sunday morning for 2 hours.
Like, yeah, I mean, the church is dead. Like, yeah, it probably actually does feel like a prison sentence for most of them because they're acting as if it is.
I feel like I'm obligated to go on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Listen, my kids don't miss church on Sundays. Now, I'm not saying that everybody, I saw somebody post like, well, my kid plays softball, and I encourage them because then they go out and show Jesus in the world. No, they don't. They go out and they play softball.
No, you're not.
Yes, you may pray before or you may pray after, but let me tell you something. Nobody gives a hoot.
And if you're showing them that their priorities,
The priority is baseball. The priority is softball. The priority is dance. The priority is soccer, whatever it is. Emmett starts soccer this coming Sunday. They've had one practice. He starts this coming Sunday. That game is at 1:00. So that means on Sunday after church, I'm going to leave here and go straight to soccer. But I'll be darned if there's a soccer game at noon somewhere far away, Emmett doesn't go.
yeah.
Don't you think was part of the fall of the church is when
Do you want the truth?
Like my parents' generation, your gas, you better have got gas.
Yeah, because everything was closed.
Everything was
Absolutely.
closed.
No.
Right.
You want me to tell you, this is not going to feel good. This is going to be a little bit ouchy, okay? The fall of the church was being acceptance of being,
Accepting?
is that the word?
I don't know.
Being accepting of divorce.
Oh, yeah.
It's the truth. Because the minute that we allowed the word to be perverted by the world, you might as well give it up.
Yes.
Right? Now, I'm not saying that if somebody gets divorced, they shouldn't be allowed to be in the church,
Right,
right?
right.
But what I'm saying is now it's easy to do. And so long as it's easy, great. Okay, well, if the church is okay with divorce, now the church is okay with the store being open. The church is now okay with
All
their
about the secular thing.
correct.
Mhm.
Correct. Now, I have
It goes back to what you're saying. Even divorce is transactional.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything, that's the problem. The church, when you walk through the door, there should be a shift in atmosphere for you that you go, you know what? I'm not here for flesh anymore. I'm not here for my body. Like we had a young girl come in last Sunday. She's been here plenty of times. Her and her husband had a tumultuous separation.
Mm-hmm.
And Kathy comes up and says to me, she needs prayer. She's sick. Now, I already knew that she was sick, but we hadn't seen her since then. We've talked a couple of times. We ended up praying for this girl, stiff as a board, stuck to the floor, like this whole experience. She didn't come for flesh. She didn't come for transaction.
Right.
She came for transformation, right? Listen, some of us have been in the church our entire lives. Some of us have been in the church since we were teenagers. Some of us have been saved for a long time, and we treat church like a transaction. This girl comes having not been here for probably better part of a year at this point, and she comes looking for something because she knows she can find it, not just here, but in the church.
Mm-hmm.
We have come to the church because we're obligated to be in the church. This is another thing, and Pastor Roger, Pastor Holly, they both can attest to this. I don't, hold on one second. Alyssa is I shouldn't say she's very sick. I don't want to panic anybody, but she's not feeling well. And so I'm worried about her, but she just texted me and said she's starting to feel a little bit better.
Well, that's good.
What was I saying before that? I was on a rampage. I know that. Oh, Pastor Roger, Pastor Holly will both tell you this. Listen, you want to be on council? You want to be a pastor? You want to get a license? You better be tithing to this building because I can't trust that you're going to make good financial decisions from a council member if you can't make good financial decisions in your own personal life, right? Okay, so then we go to if you want to be a pastor. If you're being paid from this house, you should be paying into this house.
That's right.
Right? It's crazy to me that, again, the church has become so transactional that money only counts when I need something or I want to have opinion, right? 2 weeks ago, was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, we had a $7,000 offering. 2 weeks ago, we had a $7,000. You know what our normal offering is in this building? $2,000, $2,200. That's a good week to be in the 2000s. It was one family. They gave $5,500. 500 was designated for Cupboard of Hope. 500 was, they told me do whatever I wanted with it. So I designated it to the building fund. $5,500. And when I sent them a thank you text, they said, hey, it's our pleasure. God wanted us to do that. They weren't looking for favor. They weren't looking to buy opinion. They weren't looking to have permission to get away with whatever they want. They were doing it because it was what they were led to do, right? And so it's hard for me to process how I don't have $5,500 laying around to just give away. I don't know about anybody else, but I don't typically keep that in cash in the mattress, right? So my point is that they felt led, they did, with no strings attached. They didn't want anything for that. So many of us come and we think that by paying that 10% or by giving a little bit here, giving a little bit there,
We have a voice.
that not even a voice in the church, but that God owes us something
Right.
because, well, I'm doing this.
Yeah, and it's like it's the world and the flesh that makes you think that way.
Yes.
It's anything that has anything to do with your spiritual life, you can't look at it in the lens of the rest of the, or even of how the rest of the world looks at everything. Like you can't.
Right. It can't be viewed as reciprocal.
Right.
So
Yeah.
one of the things that I've experienced with tithing, so I have a tithing message all up here in my head, but I need counsel to give me basically $1,000 to let me do that message, which sounds crazy, but I'm going to give it away. My point is, during that message, I'm going to give away the whole $1,000. That's like, because it's going to be eye-opening.
Mm-hmm.
When you see cash exchange hands, whoa, wait a second. That's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is we have become focused on, if I give, God is going to multiply.
Mm-hmm.
God is going to multiply that gift in cash. Not always.
Not always.
Nope.
No.
Sometimes that's good health. Sometimes that's healthy relationships. Sometimes that's a spiritual awakening. There's all of these things that can come from that, but we get so hyper-focused on it being monetary
Mm-hmm.
because that's the exchange, right? Almost like there's an exchange rate.
Yeah.
With God. Do you know what I mean? If I pay in $100 in U.S. currency,
Mm-hmm.
he pays me back $110 in spiritual currency. That's not how it works.
Right. Right.
That blessing is going to come in a typically unexpected way.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I've talked a lot. Anybody else have any strong opinions? You want me to keep going? I'll keep going. I'll keep going. I'll keep going.
it going.
Here's the other thing that I really struggle with. As a pastoral family, we do a lot of things for you guys, just for whomever. And, you know, Beth, we bought you a pot roast one time, but not because she needed it. Not because, like, she was like, oh, I can't afford a pot roast. She wanted one. She said she was never going to pay that price for one. Easton and I stopped, bought her one, and dropped it off on her front porch. We do that stuff for people all the time. My family typically provides a Thanksgiving box for family, and we let them tell us what they want. Like, do you want a turkey or a ham? Do you want mashed potatoes? Like, do you prefer a certain type? Like, you tell us what you want. Do you want real potatoes? We've always done that. And we do that because we believe that that's what we're supposed to do as not just a pastoral family representing the church, but as disciples of Christ who should honestly always be active in the community in doing those things.
Mm-hmm.
What I struggle with is that when we come together as a church, we always feel like there has to be a specific mission, a specific goal at the end of the mission,
Mhm.
right? So the big one right now for me is what I'm doing in the gym. We're spending a lot of money to make that happen, and people can't wrap their head around it. As a matter of fact, we had one person in the church praying against it.
It wasn't me.
Beth's like, why'd you look at me? No. We had one person in the church who knowingly was not in support of it and was praying against it. Now, if you have a problem with the vision, come chat with me, right? Because let's talk about it. Because what are you sowing if you're praying against the vision of the building, the vision of the ministry of your pastor? You're sowing discord, you're sowing chaos, honestly, ill will. Because once I found out, you better believe I was after him, right? And so they heard the vision not long ago. We were standing in the gym and they were able to hear the vision and they went, oh, wow, that's really exciting. Where were you at? Like, I have spoken this vision since I've gotten it. Like, and it hasn't really altered other than maybe some minor details. The vision has always been the same.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is why were you ever confused by what it was? You were confused because you didn't actually listen and you weren't engaged when it was being talked about. Announcements on Sunday morning, people talk through the announcements every Sunday.
Yep.
And I tell Holly every week, why do we even do this? Because after church, people text us. What day did you say that was? Why didn't you write it down? Take a picture of the slide that's up on the screen,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, we've got a calendar.
Mhm.
Take one of the, what? Why are you texting me right now? And I always like, okay, I just have to answer them. I just have to give them what they want because I want them to be available. I want them to be here. The problem is like, I'll use men's night. How many guys do we have? 5, 6? 1, 2,
1, 2,
3, 4, 5.
There were 6 of us.
6 of us there. Okay. We probably had 4 other guys who were like, oh, we're on the fence. We might be able to be there. We might not be able to be there. I knew it was only going to be the 6 of us. I set for 7. Set for 8.
8.
Set for 8. Just because that was the size of the table. But I knew we weren't going to have 8 people there. I knew. It was the same 6 guys who volunteer for all of the other stuff. I'm not trying to beat anybody because, I get it. I want to be with my family on Friday night. I want to go see a movie, whatever. I get it. The problem is men are not engaged with one another in this building like we should be.
Nope.
It's true.
And I think once we do have that connection, I really think that's when it.
I agree with you. And it's why it's my driving force to get the men. And I say people because Tanya can't just be a woman. She got to do both. I sent a text to all of the guys. I said, hey, I'll take any help I can get on Monday night to come in and help. We need to set up chairs. We've got some stuff we need to do. Tanya showed up with Mike. I'm like, I sent that to just the men. She's like, well, I know, but I was just giving her a hard time. I'm like, obviously we'll use whatever help we can get.
Yeah.
But again, the point was try to engage as many men as we can to come together. Just spend time in the building together. Mm-hmm. So here's what I said. People keep asking me, what time are you going to be here on Friday morning? And here's what I keep saying.
Saturday morning.
I keep saying, I'm going to be here at 9 a.m.
Huh. That's what time I told my wife. I says, what time are you going to church? I said, around 9.
So he gets it. He also sees how I work. So I said, I'm going to be here at 9. I said, just to pray over the building, to pray over the event. I said, I want to have time to do that before I start getting my hands dirty. Mm-hmm. I've said that to at least 3 or 4 other men. Mm-hmm. I would love to see how many of those other guys show up at 9 o'clock just to be part of that. Mm-hmm. The answer? Well, 1. There will be 1. Not Roger. Me and Roger will be here. Oh, yeah. We are kind of counted as 1 anymore at this point.
True.
Because you can usually count that if Roger is there, I'm there, or if I'm there, Roger is there. There will be 1 other guy.
I know who it is.
I know.
And I was going to say, and I bet you could guess who it is.
Yeah.
But there's a level of engagement now that with that person that you can't, you almost have to, get a cattle prod to get him to not come because he so badly wants to be engaged. I'm excited about that because that equals growth in my mind.
Absolutely.
Not physical growth, but spiritual growth. And when somebody can say, hey, I need this time together. And some people are like, well, I need to spend time with Pastor Michael. I want to be able to understand how his brain works. I want to be able to have him pour into me. That's great.
Not me. I know
Roger's like, great, take him.
And it's scary.
Roger says, well, there's another project. That's the best time to do that.
Yeah.
Because if you think you're going to get me one-on-one, it's never going to happen. I mean, it will happen, but it's rare. It's few and far between. And usually it's when there's a crisis and I have to give up something else in order to make that time available. I understand some of us work. I understand some of us have, odd schedules. We don't keep normal work schedules, but the majority of the men in this church keep normal work schedules. I can look around the room and pretty much, I can't tell you what exactly everybody works, but what they do. Most of us aren't working Saturday morning. Most of us aren't working late Friday evening. There's opportunity to be together. There's not desire. And you're right. When that changes, when the men say, and for far too long, the church has been led spiritually by women.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're the ones that pray. Listen, there's probably not a man on your prayer chain. Think through the list. Is there a man on that list?
No.
There used to be.
Who was it?
Well, I don't know.
Roger T.
Yeah, I don't know.
Roger T.
I don't know if he was on the prayer chain or not.
He was. Typically, you had to call him though, but yes, he was. 5 years. That's how it's been. 5 years. Because there's something about being emotional that we don't like to do. Listen, I admit it. I don't like to be emotional either. I don't like it at all. I hate it, as a matter of fact.
But it's 2025.
But the problem is there comes a point when somebody said to me once, they they're struggling with their faith because they feel silly when they're doing certain things. Like if you go to the altar for an altar call or, because you feel like people are looking at you and you feel silly. And I think to myself, and I think specifically about Ed, when Ed delivers a message in tongues, there is nothing like every one of us that are sitting here that have experienced that. It's like,
I feel like the whole town just stops.
yes, everything gets quiet and nothing moves. That's being incredibly vulnerable to a move of the Spirit.
Yes.
But the rest of us stand there with our arms crossed. We don't want to engage. We don't want to partake. It's the best day for me on Sunday mornings when I see at least 2 men go to the altar. Now, I can count on 2 men almost every Sunday.
Yeah.
Marcus and Mike. Those 2. They aren't afraid of it, right? They're willing to engage in that. But everybody else, well, I'll just sit in my seat. We have to learn to lead our families. We have to learn to lead our church, our congregation, our friends, all of those people. We have to be willing to lead them to Jesus. Many of them won't find it on their own. We had a guest last Sunday, a young lady. She came, she sat by herself over on the far side of the building. And somebody sent me a screenshot of a Facebook post that she made, just glowing about how wonderful we were and how kind everybody treated her and how wonderful the message was and all of those things. And I think, if she doesn't come back this Sunday, we really need to reevaluate what it is that we're doing and why we're doing it.
Right.
Because there's a problem, right? If that person was so engaged when they walked out of here, my question is this: who has reached out to her since Sunday? Anybody want to?
I mean, is it somebody that people know?
You're not talking into your microphone, so nobody heard that.
Okay, I said, is she somebody that people?
Yes.
No. Okay.
But here's the thing. Even if you don't know her, did anybody go up and say, hey, here's a welcome card? Fill this out for us so we can reach out to you.
Well, no,
Well, I'm sorry. I don't even know where the welcome cards
Welcome cards are right out on the marker board.
For years.
Yep, right out on the marker board.
Okay.
It's a little square card, and it's just basically personal information: name, address, telephone number. Backside's prayer requests. It's the ones we use in the box. It's the ones we use in the food pantry. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So now, not everybody's going to fill it out.
Oh no.
Not everybody's going to fill it out. But if we don't at least try, what have we done to be able to pour into that person through the week? Because it's now Wednesday. And I know that at least one person has reached out to her, but there's a guy that sneaks into church probably 2 Sundays a month, maybe 3. It's a husband and wife and a small group of children. They always sneak in during announcements or right after announcements. They sit towards the back. I don't even know their names.
On this far
Yep.
side?
I don't even know their names.
which far side?
Like over,
Where
I know
sit?
I know
Yes.
I know the lady.
I know the faces.
She when she was smaller, she used to come to this church.
So, but my point is who's reaching out to them through the week to just say, hey, you're loved. If you need anything,
If it's someone, is she kind of where I typically?
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. She actually would text me on Facebook, and yeah. So,
But that's
and then she started coming. And was like,
I don't
hey.
think it's the same person.
No?
I don't think it's the same person.
How many kids?
3.
I don't.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think it's the same person because they don't sit on the same side as you do. Usually, they sit in the back where Harry and Alona sit.
Oh, okay.
I don't know them.
Like clear back, where?
Like against the sound booth, against the very back wall, right next to the sound booth. Harry and Alona usually sit there, and Tracy usually sits there. That's their go-to seat. If it's not available, if Harry and Alona are already here,
They go to
move.
the
but
far side.
Yeah.
Then.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's not the same people that I was
No, not
family that I was thinking of.
so I usually catch them in the hallway because I'm usually coming out to go to the bathroom before announcements or something like that. And but I always say good morning, but they're just getting in, they're wrangling their kids. They've got 2 of them by the leg and they're trying to get everybody in the sanctuary. And so this is a true fact, and I don't care who wants to argue. Once the headset goes on the ears and the microphone is on, it is really hard to talk to people without intimidating them. Because then once the pastor becomes like, it's that, oh geez, I don't want to embarrass myself, or I don't want to. So it's like, hey, good morning, and then they run. So, like I need on Sunday morning solid people who can greet and be in agreement with people whenever they're like, hey, we're here because life is really hard on us right now. Those people could be coming in because they don't have any groceries and we haven't told them about the cupboard of hope, right?
Mm-hmm.
They could be coming in going, man, we don't know where we're going to get our next meal and we've got food to feed them, but we don't feed them. Did you just hear a loud noise?
Yeah.
Chances are one of my sound panels just fell off the wall in the gym.
Okay.
It echoes all the way down. Sounds like a gunfire. And they're a little cardboard. They're just like a little flimsy, but it's really loud. Do you see my point?
Mm-hmm.
The Sunday morning has become, I feel like we're wrangling cats.
Well, I am in the morning, Cooper.
Like,
He's basically
I
a
have no
cat.
idea.
Everything is going its own separate way. And so, we instituted the coffee station. Dawn has so graciously offered to help me with that. But Dawn and I are now making coffee every Sunday morning, and we're doing that from 9 to 9:45. We would desperately love to go to prayer on Sunday mornings, but guess what we don't get to do? We don't get to go to prayer because we're still cleaning up coffee. That doesn't seem fair. We're two of the few people who actually want to show up in the prayer room. So we shouldn't have to fight for that. We need people to volunteer inside of that ministry. We need people who are willing to learn and willing to try. You just can't get it. That was
I don't know.
that was a noise. We try desperately to get people to engage. And sometimes you're good for a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month, maybe 3 months. But eventually, and I get this from a volunteer standpoint, sometimes I just don't feel appreciated. Right. But understand that if just because somebody doesn't say it,
That's right.
like, goodness gracious.
You're not doing it for that.
Yeah,
right. Well,
Right,
some
doing
people
it
are.
For the Lord.
Some people are.
Yeah. And
Some people
That
need
accolade.
that. Not that
And
they,
again,
not that's
that's-
why they're doing it. They
Yeah.
need that in order to feel fulfilled so that they have the energy to keep doing it.
yeah.
So I do get that. At work, I bust my butt all the time. I have never had I shouldn't say I've never had anybody. Like, typically when my owners tell me once a quarter, hey, we appreciate you. And that's whenever they give me my bonus.
Mm-hmm.
In the email that tells me how much my bonus is, it's like, this is the
P.S. We appreciate you.
This is the easiest check to write every quarter because of all of your hard work. Thank you so much for everything that you do. It's usually an email like that.
Mm-hmm.
Great. But sometimes we need that. Some people require it more often than others.
Right.
I also can't be the guy that's always doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You know how, Don, when we make coffee on Sunday mornings, there are some people who are like, oh, thank you so much. We appreciate this. Right?
Right?
It makes it worth it. Like, just because you gave us $10 for a $3 coffee, I mean, that helps, but it does help when people are kind and genuine and like
Yes.
really understand and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate that we don't have more of it. All right, I'm off my high horse now.
Did you fall off?
Yeah. Yeah. I really do just hope.
I will say this. My one store manager used to always say, take initiative, do it now,
Mhm.
and ask for forgiveness later,
Yeah, don't come in here and try to burn the building down.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you see something like, this is one, and I blame Roger for this, by the way. This is Roger's fault. And it really is, but he doesn't know it's his fault. Yes, he does. So if you ever go in and out of our building, you notice how the lights on the wall are never on until nighttime? We put dusk to dawn bulbs in there with a permanent light switch that's always flipped on. Okay. So at dusk, those bulbs come on. At dawn, they go off. All right.
Mm-hmm.
We also did that with the lights that are in the ceiling of the walkway. So a couple of them burn out. And I said, Roger, hey, can you put new dusk to dawn bulbs in there? Well, Roger just put regular bulbs in there. So they're on all the time.
But they're LEDs.
Doesn't matter. And it's not about the electric usage. It's more about the fact that only 2 of the bulbs are on all day long. That needs to be fixed. And every time I walk in, I'm like, man, I really need to get to that. There's bigger fish to fry, right? There's other projects that are happening. So that just, it has to wait.
Yeah, it's only got one screw in it too.
Yes. And so, yeah, because Roger dropped that one on the ground. We can't find the other nut to hold that bad boy on. I came in one day and he's down there on the ground with a flashlight looking for this nut. Shut, Roger. He actually lost both of them. We found one, fortunately. So,
Well, that's going to be fixed here in a few weeks. He'll be able to find things.
well, I couldn't find it. Like it probably rolled off the concrete into the grass. It was game over at that
I
point.
mean, his vision's
Yes.
going
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
You'd be
One time we were putting in his door stops. He didn't even have the screw tip in the screw. He's just, I was like, Roger, Buddy, so now I'm having to guide the drill into the screw so he can put the screw in because he couldn't see anything.
We have a lot of fun.
We do have a lot of fun.
That one door, it's ripped right out of the door.
It won't, yeah. And we've put
It's because there's
wet-
nothing behind it.
we put drywall anchors in, it just won't hold. So we have to find a new solution. But that's the stuff that I'm talking about. When somebody sees that and goes, you know what, I could fix that. Fix it.
I ain't gonna fix it.
Fix it. Instead, they walk by and they're like, oh, somebody broke that. Oh, somebody peed on the floor. Leave it. Seriously. It's insane the stuff that you will see. It's crazy. And I know that nobody has noticed that hot water tank leaking other than me. But if anybody noticed it past Roger, it would probably just continue to leak. Nobody would. I should probably say something.
And I mean, if their concern is like, well, I have to be there a time Michael or Roger will be there. No, you don't. You can literally get in with the code. Michael can change the code right after you leave. If
Not even that. I can give you a code that will last you forever. If you need to get into the building for whatever reason. And then the reason that we did that is we were issuing keys to people. When I first took over the church, everybody in Tuscarawas County had a key to this building.
Yeah.
Everybody did. Now there are 4 keys in circulation.
Yeah.
You have one.
Mine's number 4.
You have one. Holly has one. I keep one in my bag. And then there's one inside of the lockbox. Okay. The one inside of the lockbox it's always there. I can put in codes into that lockbox to allow people to get in. And then if for whatever reason you stop attending or whatever, I just remove your code from the lockbox. Now I don't have you having a key and me having to chase you down to get said key back. Because chances are you've left because you're mad at me and you aren't giving the key back anyway. So, I mean,
yeah.
But there's always a way into the building. And now I won't give door codes to all of the doors, but if I know you need in, I'll make sure that there's a code programmed for you.
Yeah.
There's so much that we could do if truly we would band together and say, what can I take on? What can I help do? And there's things that can be done weekly, like every week. I'm pretty sure there's a poopy diaper in the nursery trash can. I'm about 40% certain of that. And the reason I say that is I came in Monday night and I was like, something stinks in here. I went in there today to swap out the light switch in the bathroom and I was like, something stinks in here. Chances are, and if we don't do anything until the church gets cleaned on Saturday, that smell's going to be hard to get out of here.
Yeah.
I keep smelling something in that room that you moved the cupboard of hope to.
Well, there's probably a dead animal in the ceiling.
Well, there's something in there.
I don't smell anything in there.
I've never smelled anything in there either.
I'm like tearing that.
I was even
refrigerator
smelling
apart.
boxes the other day. I'm like,
I will tell you that refrigerator smelled like cigarette smoke initially.
I thought when I first went in, you know how the older refrigerators have that drip.
Yeah, the drip tray. I don't think that one does.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
I
that
looked.
one's.
I looked. I was tracing it down to that.
Yeah, I don't think so. But it did smell. And when the compressor would kick on, you could smell it. Like I definitely smelled that when we first plugged it in. But there are things that can be done weekly. Again, mowing, even landscape, even like the pulling weeds and things like that. That stuff can be done every week. You don't have to ask. You don't even need it in the building.
free, right?
Yeah.
Feel
You just stop by and take care of it. If you're really bored and want something to do and have nothing to do, you can rake all of the gravel back into the parking lot.
Yeah.
Now, I know that seems extreme, but seriously.
By Saturday, please.
By Saturday, please. The point is that we use the excuse, well, I don't know what to do. There's always something to do. You can walk up to the front of the building and see that there is something to do. This isn't new. There's nothing that's like, oh, well, I don't know how, or I can't. Trust me, there's something here you can do. You can clean toilets, vacuum carpets. This is a big building
With
Yeah.
a good
with a good vacuum.
good vacuum.
Tyler likes to use the junky vacuum. I say that. It's not really a junky vacuum. He bought a stick vac, and it's okay, but it doesn't get deep enough. And so I had bought a commercial we had bought a commercial vacuum a few years ago, and it's actually self-propelled. When you turn it on, that beater brush moves so fast it'll pull the sweeper in front of you. But it's heavy and it's bulky, so people don't like to use it. But it's the only one that I'll use. Only one I'll use.
That's the same sweeper that we had at the hotel.
It's the same sweepers we use in the hotel. That's why I bought it. You can replace every part on it. It can't clog. Every spot you can like open it up and pull out any clogs that get in there. So you never have to worry about it. But
Sweepers is something that's worth spending the high.
yeah, buddy. It was donated. I wanted to buy one, and during council somebody donated the money to buy it, but it was $800. It's an $800 sweeper. So I think we have to think about all of the things, not just the things that we like to do.
Mm-hmm.
I've had that conversation with lots of people. I don't like to make coffee every Sunday morning. Don, I'm sure there are better things for you to do on Sunday morning than make coffee. But we do it because we like to serve and we want to find a way to serve when people are in need,
Right.
not just when we feel like, oh, I only want to serve when I want to serve.
Or I only want to serve in my ministry.
Yes.
Or the ministry I think I'm called
Yes.
to. And that could change.
That's a
throughout
big
your
one
life.
too. There are some people who say, oh, well, I know that I'm supposed to, I don't know.
They don't know either.
Yeah, most of the time. They think they do. I'm supposed to do worship. I know that I am called to worship. And because we don't have live worship, I just won't serve at all until we have live worship.
Right.
Wrong-o. If I can't trust you with little, I can't trust you with much. And I'm going to tell you, being on that platform with a microphone in your face, that's much.
Yeah.
And if I can't trust you with little, I can't trust you with much.
Amen.
Yeah.
I said to somebody the other day, sometimes when we serve, we have to think about what is our heart posture in that service. Because I go back to the parable of the master that left the gold, the inheritance with all of his servants. You know, the first one served and served well. The second one served and served well. The third one served, but his heart wasn't in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
He buries the gold, comes back with the exact same gold. He wasn't really in it for anything more than just survival.
Yeah.
So when you serve, you have to serve with your heart in the right place. And I get being here on Sunday morning early is hard. There are harder things in life,
Yeah.
way harder things in life than being here a little early on a Sunday morning. But you can't change people's minds.
I have every intention of being here early. Then, I'm going to throw a load of laundry in.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to do up these dishes real quick.
You know what's funny to
I
me?
haven't done my hair yet.
What's
Are
funny?
you sure you don't have ADHD too?
She
Beth?
probably does.
I-
Because here's what I was going to say. If you are anything like me and with your ADHD, so if I have today, I was going to Boardman to pick up a minivan for work. Okay. So I'm doing the backwards math, right? I have to be in Uricksville no later than 5:30. It's a 2-hour drive from Boardman to Berlin and then 40 minutes plus to get my car and come back here. So I need 3 hours backwards from 5:30, right? Okay, so that puts me at X. And then I have to have time to charge my car because I was driving the Tesla, so I was going to have time to charge the Tesla on that drive. So now I need to leave a half hour earlier than that. And I do this all the way back until my day starts. Okay, so in order to make this happen in time, I have to be at work by 6:30 in the morning. Right? Like, does anybody else do that? And your whole day is gone because you have one appointment at the end of the day?
That's me. Yeah. I'm like, well, I have an appointment at 3, so I can't do anything.
Right.
Before or after.
Because if I do something before,
Yeah.
start a load of laundry. Next thing I know, I've done 12 loads of laundry.
Uh-huh.
And I have not gotten ready to get to that appointment.
No. I don't do 12 loads of laundry. I see that the
Well, you do one
the dog
load.
food needs picked up or something, and
You-
then I get sidetracked. Yeah.
You start one load. You don't even fully start the
Right.
washer. You forget
Yeah.
to close the lid. And now you're
Yeah.
doing dishes, but then you
Yes.
stop doing dishes to
Yes.
clean the window. And then you stop cleaning that window because, you realize Cooper's left a toy on the floor.
Or throw a toy in the toilet and the
and-
toilet overflows.
I get it. It's real life. I get it.
I clean like that. I tear up
Yep.
Yes.
multiple rooms.
Yep.
I do. Jarvie will come home and he'll say, thought you were cleaning. I said,
I am.
am.
I am.
He's like, and what do you got finished? He said, because I can't even see the bed for all the clothes you got thrown on there. I said, I'll get it.
It's
I'll
so
get it."
funny. At home, I really have to focus that energy. I went up and down the basement steps. This is not a joke. 6 times for one project the other day because I couldn't focus. I couldn't get my brain to just hone in on the project. So finally, I just said, you know what? I'm just not going to do it right now.
Mhm.
I'm going to find something better to do with my time because it's not productive. I do the same thing here. It is not productive for me to show up here if I don't have a mission. Because I just come in and I just start doing whatever I can get my hands on. And guess what?
And then everything's tore up.
Everything's tore up. And then we find the gym in complete disarray
Yeah.
a week before the Easter egg hunt.
Well, when the water line in my bathroom to the bathtub broke and we had to Jarvie had to redo that, not once, but twice because we broke it after he did it the first time. And all my makeup and all my hair stuff was out in the dining room. I needed an extra 45 minutes to get ready for work because everything was where it was supposed to be. And if anybody knows me, I'm always a half hour late for work before I roll
Same.
out of bed.
Same.
Okay. Are we good? Everybody feel
Wow.
good. I mean, like that was a pretty intense.
Well, you needed it.
Yeah, I
You
did.
needed to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I will say, on the gym thing,
Mhm.
I was one that was like, "What in the world does he?"
Until you
want
see
to
until you
do?"
saw the black paint go
And
up on the
then
stage.
When I seen that, I'm like, oh, "It's
You get
coming
it.
together."
That's-
But I'm one, I can't see a finished
Right.
project.
I get it.
have to see it as it progresses.
You
And I was
probably
excited.
shouldn't admit this out loud. So think about your answer before you say it. But would you have actively prayed against the project?
No.
Because that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like I get not everybody sees things the way that I do. And even when I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, I like this, but I feel like I need to pivot.
And change it.
And that happens regularly. But when I'm seeing the vision, I'm seeing completed project and I'm not seeing the small details.
Right. Right.
So like those final touches come in time.
Eventually.
Right, in time.
Yeah.
But you also have to understand that like it doesn't happen overnight. None
Like
of
a
this.
kitchen remodel.
Exactly. And you know what? You pick the color of the cabinets and then you hope that everything comes together after you pick the color of the cabinets. Sometimes you pick the color of the cabinets and then the countertop doesn't match.
Yeah.
Or you pick the color of the countertop and then the backsplash doesn't match. There has to be room for
Yeah.
change. And so like I keep a very open mind when I walk into those projects. But to actively speak against or pray against a project is just, to me, it's baffling
Yeah.
because it tells me that you're not in the right place.
Yeah.
And whether that's physically in the right place, like this isn't the place for you to be, but this isn't the place for you to worship, or you're not in the right headspace, you're not in the right emotional or spiritual
Emotionally,
place.
Yeah.
Like those are big and hard conversations to have with people.
Need a heart check.
Yep. And there's some people that are just bulldogs. Like they just are always like, it doesn't matter. It's not good enough. So, Hey, said, you want to see something really cool? Watch. I get it right on the first
You got to
one.
label it for me.
Why?
Because I have a mom brain now.
It's the first one. It's the first one.
Why do I always think it's B?
She
I don't
always
know.
asks me, and I say, "Oh,
It's the first one.
Okay, now we all know it's the first.
It's the first
First
one.
one.
Now we'll see who remembers it next time. Let's pray together. Father, I thank you and I praise you for our time together this evening. Lord, I pray that you just continue to lead us, guide us, and direct us. Lord, every week that we come together, I'm thankful for the podcast and the people who sit around this table. But Lord, I'm always thankful for your wisdom and your word. Lord, I pray that as we move from this place today, that you give us guidance and direction, Lord, that you
Yes.
just continue to speak into our lives and allow us to understand the importance of being in service for you, Lord, but being in fellowship with one another. Lord, there's nothing like being together on a Sunday morning or just being together on a Wednesday night. And I pray, Lord, that you just keep giving people the burning desire to be in your presence and in your house. Lord, I thank you for all of the people who give so wonderfully to this ministry. Lord, I pray that you continue to bless them, bless their hearts, bless their minds, bless their finances, Father God. Just allow them to continue to just receive all that it is that you have for them. Lord, I thank you. I praise you. I give you honor and glory in the mighty name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Hey friends, Pastor Michael again. If you've enjoyed this podcast, you should consider joining us on Sunday mornings. Our address is 1943 North Water Street Extension in Yorksville. We'd love to have you join us for an in-person service.